Hey everyone, I think I've got a real interesting video for you today. We're going to explore what we call tension mixing on the dominant chord. In this song, Bewitched, we're in the key of F. The 2-5-1 would be G minor to C seventh. And I picked this key because when we're playing a C dominant seventh chord, the altered tensions are black keys, and the unaltered tensions are white keys. So let's talk about what they are real quickly, and then how we can mix them and then create, very beautiful and rich dominant seventh chords. And when you understand the harmony here, I think you'll be able to also understand how to use these harmonic ideas to create an improvisation, a melodic line that is very beautiful, and you'll understand kind of where these scales come from, like the diminished scale and the altered scale and some of those other ones. If you really understand the harmony, I don't even think you need to know the names of the scales, because you'll go to the right notes naturally. But let's proceed. What's available on a dominant seventh chord? Literally everything. The flat 9, the 9, sharp 9, that's just the third. The 11th is there. You usually leave out the third when you do that. Create a suspended chord. We've got a sharp 11. It's called a flat 5 a lot of times, but let's call it a sharp 11 today. We've got the 5, of course. A flat 13, which is called a sharp 5, but we're going to call it a flat 13 most of the time. And then we've got the 13, we've got the 7, and we've got, that is not really available on the chord. However, it can be used. If you're doing, let's say, a blues scale, right there you're kind of playing that. So that's one case where it would work, but most of the time it doesn't. You can't create a chord with a flat 9 and a 13 and the major 7th. Just doesn't work. So leave that note out of most of our dominant 7th chords. All right, let's mix them up now. Can we add a flat 9 and a 9? Debussy does it, but I don't think we should. In general, we say, no, we can't do that. All right, it's just a little bit too dissonant. We could, though, add the sharp 9 to it as well. And, if we rearrange the chord a little bit, like suppose we played the D flat up here and added, say, a flat 13 there, we could have something like, which is rich, I'll admit, but it's a nice harmony used in the right place. So we can't add the 9 there. We could add the sharp 9. Of course, the third is there. We'd have to leave this out. And yes, we could have kind of a suspended dominant chord there. Works out pretty nicely. And I'll do a few of these with my little backup track here. Let's try that one, actually. How about the sharp 11 in addition to the 9? Yes, we can do that. In fact, we could put all 3 of those in there, but let's just keep it to this for now. So, yes, that works very nicely. Yeah, adding the 5 is nice. How about the flat 13? Yes, absolutely. And a better voicing, or another voicing, could be to take the E and move it up there. We've got like a little minor triad over this, so works well. And just to kind of demonstrate a melodic idea built on that, maybe. Use that triad. All right, it's part of the altered scale. But once you put all those altered intervals in there, you've got the altered scale. I think that is the altered scale, actually. Yes, every note of the altered scale is there. So yes, you can do that note, and you can play this one as well. And you can also add all those other ones there too, though I would probably space them out. Something like that, maybe. Okay. All right, let's take a look at the, oh, wait a minute. We've got the 13 to add. Very common chord too. This one's used a lot. So take the 3 and move it up there. It's like a little A major triad. All right. So anyway, almost any dominant chord in a jazz ballad, you know, try out this voicing for sure, because it might just fit the bill. Let's see how else we can mix some stuff around. Got the 9. What can we add to it? Not that, not that. We can add the 11, but we usually leave this out. Got a nice C11 chord. We've got the sharp 11, and we can also add the 13 to that. And this is a real common chord in a few spots, and let me show you the spots that it's good for. Yeah, I mean, you could use it in our song right here too, but there's a few other places where it works really nicely. So it's like a D triad over there. Suppose I was playing like a little jam in D, like that, all right? Like Killer Joe in the key of D. You know, I could use this chord. Here it comes. So if you're in a particular key, like say the key of F, and you happen to go to the flat 7 and play a dominant chord, you can put that 9, sharp 11, and 13 with it. And it's usually a pretty good sound. Okay. Also, like if you were in the key of B flat, get to the 2 chord, but it's a dominant chord, it's a very common spot to use this particular chord with that little triad there. So, and I thought of a melodic idea too. I just used that triad and used the other notes of this, like that's in the chord, you know. Okay, so we've got that. What about the flat 13 along with the 9? We've got a tritone here that suggests the B flat chord or the E chord, so it's kind of a be careful, but it's you don't have to be too careful. You'll notice there's no prime dissonance, and by that I mean like that's prime dissonance, or this, or even this. But we do have whole steps, right? We've got like D and E there. We've got A flat and B flat, those two. And it kind of suggests the whole tone scale. And this is one instance where I think it's okay to call this note the sharp 5, because it sounds like an augmented 7th chord. You can call it an augmented 7th chord because it is an augmented 7th chord, and so you can write it as a sharp 5. And a lot of times you'll see something like C plus 7, maybe with a 9 since we put the 9 in, but the C plus 7. Now most of the time when you see that symbol, it really does just mean an altered chord, and you play something like that, or something like, you know, like this, or like that. But it's more accurately used when you do this chord, and it suggests the whole tone scale. Okay. And of course, the 13 is going to sound very nice, and there's no altered intervals in here because I've left the F sharp out. And this would be very nice if you were doing a real pretty version of Bewitched, and you know, you have a singer who's singing it pretty straight and doesn't want to hear any of that flat 9 crap, and you just play the little turnaround like this. Play A minor. See? Nice little chord there. Let me try it one more time. Beautimous. Okay, that's about it for that. Now we can go to the sharp 9, and you know, here we're going to kind of start repeating ourselves. We can put in any of the other altered intervals there. So that's a legal chord. That's a good one. That's okay too. However, there's one real be careful. If we put in the 13 there, we've got this tritone, which sounds kind of like an F chord, and C often moves to an F. So if we were going from C 7th to F 7th, we don't have much motion. Almost sounds like the same chord. So you can use this, but you just have to be careful on how to use it. And one way I use it would be to reverse the order there. And so now I'm going to play this, and I'm going to move my E up here. And I've got that, I've still got what sounds like an F7 chord, but let me show you how I would use it. I would resolve that note down. And I use it in another song too, different key. See, there it is right there. A7, A7, that should be C sharp there. The 13 and the sharp 9. And we've got that tritone there that's suggesting a D7. But if I move it like that, and then go to D7, and maybe move that one too, it has a nice little inner motion going on there. So that's a song called Close Enough for Love. Now, can we mix the flat 13 and the 13 together? No, we can't do that, just like we can't mix those down there. And we can't mix the 11 and the sharp 11 either. I mean, there are ways to make this stuff work, but it will be a very harmonically complex situation. And yeah, we just don't want to go there today. Now, some riffs that can come out of this, you know, if you know this chord, all right, it's like a little F sharp triad, right? But the flat 9, sharp 11, and the 7, and then this chord as well. We can do something like we could call it triad pairs when we improvise. See, I used the A flat, right? Because that's like an A flat triad. And then I used an F sharp, because that was an F sharp triad, and I came up with some good line there. The first one was better. Okay, there you go. So the scales fit the chords fit the scales, but knowing the chords, I think, is really the first step to really understanding and being able to use the scales. So I invite you to explore all the possibilities and the different voicings that you can come up with, and there are hundreds, thousands, if not millions of ways to do this. Once you get into using rootless voicings, then you come up with a whole new set of voicings for dominant 7th chords that are quite rich and quite beautiful. One I didn't really talk about much, and it kind of comes from this chord right here that we played. Right here, we've got like this little shape here that can be used as 3 notes or as 4 notes, and it can be moved around in minor thirds, moving up and down by, 1, da, 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 like that distance, right? So moving it like that, and you might know that all of these notes would fit the diminished scale. So believe it or not, right there on that dominant 7th chord at the end of Bewitched, you could put all that stuff in there, all right? I don't know if you could get away with it, but you could do it. So, in fact, using those shapes gives you kind of a very modern little thing there. Chick Corea uses them like this and then puts the diminished scale above it. So, I don't think there's really time for all that, but if you did have time, you could do it. Maybe if you were on like Caravan or something. I'm just playing the scale. I'm not trying to do any fancy runs, but if I was, and then you end up in what? F minor or something. All right. I think that's enough for this video. I'm going to come back soon though and do something on the the actual 3, 6, 2, 5, 1, and show you some ways to kind of expand that, starting with very simple chords and building it out from there. I had a couple really good ideas about that recently. 3, 6, 2, 5, 1. How about this? From the 1, flat 6, to the 2, to the flat 7. All right. How did I come up with that alteration of the 3, 6, 2, 5, 1? I shall tell you in the next video. Yes, I will. Thanks for watching, everyone. See you again real soon.